Hey all, and welcome back to When the Night Comes. I'm Agent of Mischief. Let's jump on in, shall we? August and I stand in stoic silence, the air still heavy. Their hands are balled into fists at their side, and they take a deep breath before they move to take a seat at their desk. It's still raw like an open wound, an exposed nerve, and it will be for a while. I don't quite know what to say or do, but I do know that I need to be here for them. Take a seat opposite them, I simply let them ponder, hoping I'm somewhat of a comforting presence. Eventually, August sighs heavily, slumping in their chair uncharacteristically. You should hide home and get some rest. I gather none of us will be getting any in the coming days.
You're probably right. Now let's go. I cannot bear to be here any longer.
With that, we both stand, and Augustine lingers upon the door handle, their gaze longing as they stare back into their empty office. You'll be back, August. They frown as if they don't quite believe me, but long to. Let us hope. I offered to walk August home, and I'm glad that I did when we passed Minnie and Enforcer on the way out of headquarters. Some gaze upon us with pity, but others glare with disdain. August keeps their head down, eyes on the ground, but I make a point to keep my chin up, head high. You will not defeat us. As we draw near to August's house, a familiar figure skids around the corner, her eyes heavy, her chest heavy.
Fucking hell, you're both okay?
Jesus.
I heard in the wolf that he's back.
Yes, he's back. And he's lost his damn mind, apparently.
Piper raises her brows, her eyes flicking between us. Well, yeah, no shit. She withers under August's sharp gaze, her expression softening. She takes a step closer to me, her fingers switching on her side, and I take the initiative, stepping forward and taking her hand. Her posture immediately changes, her tension melting away. Are you really both okay? He didn't do anything other than prove to us just how guilty he is. August moves from foot to foot, restless, clearly longing for the comfort of their home. Go ahead, if you're okay alone. They look relieved and they nod gratefully.
Don't think I'm being rude, but I very much want to just collapse into my bed.
Be safe. The officer does a tired smile and they rest their hands upon Piper's shoulder in passing, a gesture of comfort. We both watch them go, their stride slow. They're a shadow of the confident August we know. They turn to Piper. She looks at me with wide, hopeful eyes.
What the hell happened in there?
I take a deep breath, knowing this blow will hurt, and already bracing myself for the impact of her response. I know that we already suspected it, but Piper quickly holds up her hand, her expression twisted and angry.
It's fine. You don't have to say it. I can already tell by the look on your face.
Then she softens. There's nothing we can do for her. I shake my head, and her hands fall back to her sides, her fingers curled in a tight fist, knuckles bleeding white. All we can do now is hope to put her out of whatever misery is inflicted upon her. It will be a kindness. She looks right through me, a single tear trailing down her cheek. A kindness. Piper, did you want to No, I should go. I reach out to stop her, taking her arm. We'll finish this, once and for all. Too fucking right we will. With that, she carefully pries herself free from my grasp and disappears into the darkness. I contemplate my next move. I could drag myself back to my room and drown in misery alone, I suppose. They say hunters sleep with one eye open, but enforcers sleep with two, and you don't get as far as Harry without paying full attention. There's no use hating him, not now. I've seen what I need to do in order to make my choice. And yet it still hurts, and a strategic part of me loathes the cold silence I'd given him for an answer. Conscience makes you work harder. My mentors used to tell me, and they weren't wrong. It's always been worth it, though, especially now as I think about Aya and Piper and August. Still, they weren't wrong. He opens the door before I knock, as though he sensed or expected me. It's probably a bit of both. Wordlessly, he reaches for me, and the cool press of fingers against my skin soothes me in an instant. I'm reeled in, tugged against the broad plane of his chest, and the door quietly clicks shut behind me as I sink into his embrace.
Those with blood on their hands always get what they deserve.
I carefully pull away to look at him, but just a little, loath to fully leave his arms. They do? He smiles, nodding gently. Come. He takes my hand and guides me over to the bed, and I take a seat upon the dark sheets. He pries a wooden box from one of his many bookshelves and kneels before me, placing it upon my lap. Run my fingers over the curling vines that are lovingly carved into the lid, and Finn nods when I seek permission to unlatch the lock. Inside is a trove of trinkets, sketches, letters. I pull out one of the charcoal drawings, recognizing it as one of Finn's immediately. The style is the same as the paintings that adorn Ezra's kitchen wall. It's a portrait of a boy, happy, smiling. He's beautiful. Finn smiles, taking it from me, running his hands over the parchment. Gabriel. He was the very first thing Levi stole from me. I keep these things because sometimes I need a reminder of why I want to be good.
It's not easy to push down the baser urges and instincts that are ingrained in us. Creatures hunt and kill without question or hesitation. So to take the nefarious route when it comes to dealing with those who have wronged you is the simple solution.
He meets my gaze, his eyes bright in the
To
candlelight.
have the power we have, and to have the solution to all of our problems laid out before us like a neatly wrapped present. All it would take would be one tug of the string, and it would all be set right, wouldn't it?
I process his words carefully. To join Harry to gain strength and power to fix the world would have been easy, and yet it wouldn't have been the human thing to do. He places the drawing back in the box, closing the lid and resting his palms atop it.
You did the right thing in denying him, in condemning him. Though it may not feel like it while your mind tries to find a new solution. You did the right thing.
He puts the box away and returns to his knees before me, unlacing my boots, sliding them off. I don't have anything to sleep in. He casts me a look, and I feel heat spreading across my cheeks.
I'm sure I can find something for you to borrow.
I see an opportunity to tease him, and so I eagerly take it. Something that buttons all the way up? I point to his chest. His brows shoot high, and he feigns offense.
You've come to the wrong place if decency is what you're after.
I laugh, and he moves to join me upon the bed, tugging back the sheets so that we can climb beneath them. He removes his shirt, and I slide into it, relishing the familiar smell of him as the soft fabric drapes across my chest.
It looks better
my
on
skin.
you. You should keep it.
And you look better without it. He laughs at that, his nose crinkling in a way that makes my heart flutter, and he rests his head against the pillow. Suddenly, the bruises that I've tried to bear a deep throb, inside and out. Harry's face, his blithe conviction that this is somehow the right path. The obedient, insidious doubt in me is that the whispers that perhaps he's right. Perhaps prices must be paid for our safety. He's the Lieutenant General, and I'm only a hunter. Only a soldier. Nothing has been done yet, and I still feel almost sick to my stomach. But worry is more muted now, further away. Tomorrow I'll figure it out. We'll all figure it out, together. Hey, are you okay? His words tug at me, pulling me from my thoughts, and I see him nestled beneath those dark sheets, pale skin and pretty eyes, so tempting in this dreamy golden light. Without hesitation, I curl against him, resting my hand in the crook of his shoulder, and even the cool bite of his prosthetic against my skin doesn't bother me anymore. He presses his lips to my temple, and I dip my chin in invitation, seeking more, needing more. A pause, an almost hungry look exchanged, and then our lips meet. His kiss placates me, sending my heart to its knees, and he sinks his fingers into my hair. I'm lost. Feeling the careful weight of him on top of me grounds me, and I curl my arms around him, hands splayed against shifting shoulder blades. Finn does well to make me feel like nothing other than wanted and loved. And so, when the candles burn out, and we're left with only the darkness in each other, I let myself forget. The next morning, we meet in the catacombs, aware that it's probably the only location in town at this point where Harry cannot have us watched. There's a growing awkward silence between us, August frowning down at their feet with sudden intense concentration. I almost laughed at the sight of this mismatched group huddled in Finn's quarters, and Finn's eyes are fixedly marked upon Piper, who unabashedly pokes and prods his belongings. She picks up what I assume to be a very real human skull, staring deep into its vacant eye sockets and smirking smugly at our undead companion.
This what you use to practice your flirting every night?
Finn grins, shrugging with the cocky kind of nonchalance.
I don't need to practice.
Piper scoffs, placing it back upon the shelf. Sure. August groans loudly. Right, can we please get on with this? I can already feel my skin cursing me for spending so much time down in this damp pit. Then they all pointedly look at me and I realize that the floor is mine. Right, yes. Omen and Alcar are patrolling the woods, making sure that we know where the best spot to confront Harry will be. Ezra raises his hand and August rolls their eyes at his politeness. How are we going to get him to come find you? And how do you know they'll have Aya with him? Piper's gaze drops to the floor at the mention of her friend's name. We don't. It's more of a hopeful optimism. I need to be the one to stop Aya. Everyone looks at Piper.
She was my friend, and I might not be able to save her, but I can make sure it's as quick as possible.
August drops an arm around her shoulders and pulls her close, their embrace quick but meaningful. We understand. Whatever you need.
And what of us? What do you need us to do?
Before I can respond, August steps forward.
Have our backs if necessary. Other than that, just stay hidden. The last thing we need is to rile him up further by flaunting our alliance with the very creatures he longs to eliminate.
Finn and Ezra exchange a look, and I can feel apprehension rolling off of them in waves, but they still nod their agreement. I'll use myself as bait, essentially. I'm sure he still thinks he convinced me to change my mind. He did seem hopeful when he left my office. He'll pay for what he's done.
Then all we need to do is wait. And hope that he comes.
Finn scoffs, crossing his arms over his broad chest.
He'll come. If I've learned anything about Harry in the years I've known him, it's that he never backs down when he has his sights set on something.
August sighs, worrying their bottom lip between their teeth.
Yes, Finnegan is right. And he doesn't give a damn about the cost of his actions anymore either, clearly.
Though that thought has sent my skin prickling with heat, my hair standing on end. He truly will stop at nothing. James's death proves that to all of us. Then he'll come and we'll end this. Once and for all. It's dusk in Lunaris. My feet are sore and my eyes tired, and all I can think about is how much I can't wait for all of this to be over. In school they trained us to kill monsters, and the irony of my current predicament does not escape me. Despite countless hours of training and study, nothing could have ever prepared me to fight my greatest enemy yet, the Lieutenant General of Escria. Harry is the true culprit, and it's so hard to grasp that he's the one responsible for the gruesome murders that brought me here. As I sink further into the town, the feeling of dread that's been a constant pit in my stomach since I arrived strangely seems to dissipate. I wander with purpose through the narrow streets, hyper-focused on the task at hand. I'm ready to ensure that this place I've come to call my home is once again safe and in the hands of those that truly care for it. The only thing that distracts me from such thoughts is the way the sky begins to turn from purple to an inky, infinite black. I turn a corner and I'm met with the familiar sight of people moving to get inside as darkness overtakes the town. The sound of doors slamming and locking echoes off the crooked stonework. Curtains are drawn, windows closed, and then darkness. Though the stars are shining bright at a glance, the crescent moon hangs low, neither offer much light. I think back to the first night I arrived and how much my life has changed since. A lump forms my throat as I realize that I've been gifted what I haven't known since childhood, a home, a family to call my own. So many things have been taken from me, from all of us. I straighten my shoulders, taking a deep breath. No more. Then I think about Finn, the man who's fought to become good despite living through lifetimes surrounded by evil. It's one of the things I hold most dear about him, and I've realized how desperately I love him now that he is essential to me as air is to my lungs. I cannot bear the thought of anyone, anything, taking him from me. Or I from him. I try not to let the thought of him distract me too much from the straight line of my thoughts, something he's far too good at doing. Determination licks through my bones, and I pick up my pace, boots heavy and loud against the cobblestones. The instincts that have been ingrained in me since my initiation into the order kick in, and I know that I will win this fight. After all, I haven't lost one yet. I can feel eyes upon me, watching, waiting. Though they are kind eyes, the watchful gaze of my friends and allies tucked safely away in the thick forest. No matter how much I insisted I'd be fine alone, the stubborn bastards wouldn't take no for an answer. I stand and I wait. I think back to my brief time with James, and all I can hope is that I make him proud tonight. In footsteps, a rhythmic crunch, crunch, crunch. And there he stands, bathed in darkness, his sharp gauntlets resting proudly upon the pommel of his sword. He smiles.
I knew you would change your mind.
I stand firm, my fingers hovering above my own weapon. I haven't changed my mind, Harry. I'm here to end this. His booming laugh echoes across the clearing, and he steps forward, his stride slow and purposeful.
And what? And my attempt to fix the imbalance in our world? To stop me saving humanity? I thought you better than that, Hunter.
I clenched my jaw, willing myself to remain calm, to let him have his moment of glory with the hope that he might reveal a weakness.
You trained all those years just to defy the very cause that you pledged your life to. How noble.
Then he still pressing his palm to his chest.
I swear that no night will be traversed in fear. That morning will be a promise and not a hope. I swear I shall lay down my life in the cause of my duty to protect the vulnerable from the creatures of this realm and any beyond it. Until my final breath, I pledge myself to you, body, mind, and soul.
Pledge, the oath that we take before consuming the poison they fed us. The words sound so empty to me now that I don't know what's become of this order. And yet you never took the oath, did you, Harry? You couldn't possibly fathom the weight that those words carry. He drops his hand back to his weapon and he laughs again.
You're right. I am no hunter. I was never worthy, but I have loved a hunter, and I have seen the things they must endure.
I almost want to scoff at him, to laugh in the face of his supposed understanding. He may have loved a hunter, but he killed him too. He surveys me for a second, eyes narrowed, and then he inclines his head. Do you intend to what? Kill me? Commit murder?
Killing me would be against your precious code, wouldn't it? Or are you going to get your vampire to do it for you? Might not be such a smart move. I killed his sire, after all. Levi was far stronger than your beloved.
I freeze at the mention of Finn, fingers tight around my weapons, my knuckles bleeding white. Harry notices, and he's pleased with himself. He pouts at me, feigning innocence when he sees the sour look I can't help but offer him. We did just fine killing your failure. Pointedly, he chooses to ignore that, instead of reaching into his coat and producing a vial. It feels eerily familiar, and the sight of dark, viscous liquid encased in delicate glass makes me feel sick. He holds it high, gazing at it with unabashed fondness, shamelessly proud of his nefarious creation.
To think you would willingly deny such an honor. I'd give anything to be able to take it.
The moonlight hits the glass, the liquid more black than the red I remember, and my stomach churns. It would kill you. He sighs.
It would, wouldn't it?
For a brief moment, I think he might greedily swallow it down, but then he tucks it safely back inside his coat, patting the fabric tenderly. Since you won't see reason, let's just get this over with, shall we? Final chance. Join me. I don't need to hesitate in my response. Never. Calmly he smiles, flexing his gauntlet. A wounded noise rings out around us, something broken and terrible enough to make me want to cover my ears.
A shame. You would have been magnificent.
The sound his sword makes as he draws it from its sheath is cutting, and the impressive weapon glows to life, emanating a bright golden light. A mental reminder to ask August if they knew about this little surprise. He's fast, faster than I expected. Now I finally get to see the infamous prowess of Harold Addington III up close. I parry his heavy blows with relative ease, trained to anticipate every move, things far more cunning than him might make. I wonder if he's underestimated me like all the enforcers do with their hunters. Down the corner of my eyes, I see her. Branches twist and snap against the weight from the misshapen frame as she pushes into the brush, her maw wide and vicious, teeth snapping as she struggles forward. Harry could catch me off guard, could see my momentary distraction as the perfect opportunity to strike me down, but he stopped, staring me down with wild eyes.
Isn't she beautiful?
I feel drawn to her, an almost undeniable connection, but something is distinctly wrong. I feel the lingering threads of her humanity, of the hunter within her, and though it seems to me like a prayer, it leaves me feeling sick. There's something about seeing her that makes my blood turn cold in my veins. I try to remain unaffected, but confusion and anger twist in my gut. She's a monster. Harry narrows his eyes at me, fingers tight around the hilt of his sword. Technically, yes, but she's so much more than that.
She evolved far beyond the other subjects, and she's outlived them too. Though I assume Azazel would have lived as long had you not killed him.
Azazel? I say it like Azazel, that's so weird. That's a weird way to pronounce it. With that, he lunges forward and we begin our dance once again. I'm fighting a man I do not want to kill, no matter how many crimes he's committed, for I am not the monster he wants me to be. I need to subdue him, and faster, because in my peripheral, I can see Aya lurking, and I know that Harry doesn't have any semblance of control over her. She could turn on either of us at any moment. Then when Aya does set her crimson eyes upon Harry and me, I see daggers glint in the moonlight. Piper's daggers. She tears from the forest with a battle cry, heading straight for the misshapen creature. She meets each of her lazy attacks with an unbidden power, and I try not to let myself become distracted by them, knowing Piper can handle it. Aya isn't one of us, not anymore. The hunter and human within her long dead. All that remains is a husk. All thanks to the man who stands so boldly before me.
So, you did bring your friends. I knew you wouldn't face me alone.
I scoff, wiping sweat from my brow with the back of my hand. I see now that you long for us to fight alone because you want us to be disposable and forgettable. You called me here to turn me into a monster, but I made Lunaris my home. That must really piss you off. With clenched teeth and a growl, Harry's carefully crafted composure withers and dies as he hurls forward. He lunges, the tip of his sword pointing towards my chest. I shift to parry his attack. Within that second, however, his body pivots and I see the aim in his misdirection. Quick thinking on his part, I must be quicker. Sharp steel hums to the clash of my weapon against his own, and I feel the oppressive weight of his desperation trying to blow me down. As soon as I force him back, he strikes at me again. His attacks seem to be without pattern, like a random unguided flurry, but in those eyes I see men with deadly calculation. Each blow given means to take a tendon, a weak point, a place not always vital, but just enough to keep me from fighting back. Harry believes us all to be lesser, and therein lies his hubris, his weakness. I can see his confidence soar with every blow that barely finds its intended spot, and he seeks to overwhelm me. I'll continue to enjoy letting him think he can. I cast Piper a glance when I can. The cacophony of battle all around us numbs my ears, but I can still hear her, see her, and feel the thrum of angry adrenaline coursing through her. It's not unlike my own, and like her, I trust my instincts to guide me. Purposefully, I let my stride waver, become almost haggard, fearful even. I adopt a stance that tries to let the predator think he's weakening his prey, and Harry catches that bait like a moth to a flame. He smirks, another blow.
Come now, Hunter. You made for such a good show before, don't falter now.
Is that what you think?
I thought you better than this. How disappointing.
I force him back again, and though I make him believe he has the upper hand, Harry is a force to be reckoned with. He mimics the same attempt he made at the beginning, sword to chest, but this time with intent. He doesn't change his direction, there's a renewed force behind it. The blow rattles my bones when the attack connects with my weapon, and his sword reverberates with the magic enchanted into its steel. Harry uses the pressure to force me down. His concentration, all pitted against my weapon-wielding side, allows me an opening. Though Harry may be strong, he doesn't count for me being able to hold him back with unarmed. My free hand reaches for my concealed dagger, the one given us to the academy during initiation. I seek to implant it into his side. To my surprise, Harry releases one hand from the hilt of his sword, stopping the dagger before it can meet a vulnerable point between his ribs. He grimaces in pain when the dagger's edge slides against his palm, deep crimson, slick on silver, and yet he grips at it with fervor. His body trembles, but he grins at me despite it all. Close! Stars flicker behind my eyes when Harry headbutts me, a sickening crack. I stumble away from him, struggling to regain my footing in the dizzying haze. I barely have time to register his next attack, and the downward swing of his sword knocks my weapon from my hand. He connects a quick kick to the sternum, and I fall to the dirt. I see that my eyes just to call my leader, giving himself a moment to relish his triumph. He observes the dagger that bloodied his hand and huffs a tired laugh.
It would have been ironic if I was the one to give this to you. I suppose this will have to do.
He discards it with a shrug and walks towards me. He truly means to kill me. With renewed confidence, he swings his sword with a flourish, a fluid moment that shows his weapon is just another part of him, and now it rushes for me. I breathe deep and try to regain lucidity, but it won't be enough. Just as his blade is about to meet me, it's repelled with a brilliant flash. Oh shit, oh shit. Fuck him up, August. That haze, the smell, and that aura fills my senses, and I know exactly who it is.
Augustus!
Harry strides backward as August steps forward, cracks of magic snapping at him with palpable intensity. He forces back the attacks with the enchantment upon his blade, but he can't stop the overpowering force that shocks his body each time they use their power on him. I watch August gracefully turn their pain into fury, magic licking across their skin as they weave spell after powerful spell to combat each of his would-be blows while I regain my footing. The body shakes with lingering static as they finally relax, eyes aglow in the darkness. Harry spits blood, finally faltering to the onslaught. His body gives way, falling to his knees. Augustin appears at my side, frantically scanning me for injuries, but I wave him off, adrenaline still coursing violently through my veins. I'm fine. You're sure? I nod, turning my attention to Harry. He kneels in the dirt, his dusty black coat pulling around him, his right hand red with blood. His breathing is labored, but I know we didn't harm enough for there to be any immediate threat to his life. The blood that covers him is mostly not his own, but Aya's. I glance over at the heap of blood and bones that was once our fellow hunter. Piper kneels beside her, and Ezra holds her tightly as Finn watches in silent support. I see Owen and Alcar emerge from the forest, and in the tree line, a litany of glowing red eyes. The clan. Pain and suffering that's clearing around are enough to make me furious, enough to warrant this man's death, and yet he looks up at me with those piercing blue eyes.
Just do it!
August rests their hand upon my arm, but I don't want to meet their gaze, afraid of what I might find. Raven. I stare down at him, at my Lieutenant General, and I remember the taste of it. The file cold in my palm, an encouraging smile from the enforcer handed it to me. A child so eager to please and feel loved after being taken from their family. Magic in the blood of other, foreign things coursing through my body, seeping and sinking deep into my bones like an incurable infection. I said my vows and took my oaths, and I became theirs. I've been faithful to their cause, all of us have, and this is where it ends. This is where I break it. No matter how long I live, there's one sight, one moment I can never erase from my mind. Harold Addington on his knees, covered me in blood, asking me, no, begging me to end it all. My whole body trembles with the effort of my steps as I follow August into the depths of the dungeons. I'm exhausted, beating and bruised at the hand of the person who dragged me into this mess, the man who vowed to protect me, to protect us all. August and I do not speak. In fact, I don't think I've spoken since the forces burst in that clearing and grabbed their leader by his shoulders, yanking him away from my weapon. Would I have finished him had he asked again, if I had the chance? I suppose I'll never know, but the anger and hurt that I feel are stifling, almost suffocating. August pauses before me, their long fingers curled around the bars of the door that separates us from the line of cells, and I take a deep, shuddering breath. I'm almost scared to look at them because I've seen them cry enough for one lifetime. When they finally do speak, their voice is quiet and strained.
I cannot promise I'll be of much use.
It's okay, August. They nod, drawing in a serrated breath, letting it out slowly. Then they push, iron scraping across the uneven stone as we enter. Every enforcer that lines a seemingly never-ending corridor stands to attention when they see August. And it's now that I realize with Harry chained to his cell that they are the most senior officials in Lunaris. That thought calms me somewhat, to know that amongst all this chaos we are all now in the hands of one of the people I trust the most. Capable hands. Even if it is temporary. The loud click of their shoes resumes as they stride past the dungeon guards with purpose. Their eyes are still down, not a trace of the usual authoritative way that they hold themselves. I follow dutifully, a slight limp to my step, every muscle and bone in my body protesting as I move. I can feel a pool of dried blood upon my skin, not entirely sure if it's his or mine, but I know that he got more than a few hits in on me. I should probably see Ezra, soon. August approaches the head guard that is stationed opposite Harry's cell. Has he been any trouble? No, General Willenheim, Lieutenant. However, he has been talking to himself. August nods at her to face me, running a hand over their face, exasperated.
Let us just get this over with.
August's steps falter as they draw near to the final cell where the man that they once viewed as something akin to a father is contained. I can hear him whispering, his voice soft and lacking the venom that it was steeped with just hours ago. I swear I hear him utter James's name. August closes their eyes, dropping their chin to their chest. They must have heard it too. wonder if his fallen husband is really with him or if he's finally lost his mind. Again, August takes a deep breath and looks at me. I nod, stepping closer to show my support is unwavering, that I'm here, and we approach the bars together. Harry falls silent. He's stripped of his weapon and his enforcer attire, lifting nothing but muddy trousers and a blood-stained shirt. Somehow he still managed to look refined, even through the bruises and cuts that litter his handsome face. He sits with his back against the wall, his knees drawn tight to his chest, arms casually slung over them. The golden glint of his wedding ring catches my eye as he twists it around his finger, the sight making my chest hurt even after all that he's done. His cheeks are ruddy, the dirt and blood that's caked upon his skin streaked with tear tracks now dry.
I am glad that it will be you, Augustus.
August clears her throat, curling their hands into fists.
What makes you think that I will show you mercy?
Harry stands, the movement clearly a great effort for him. He grimaces as he straightens up, watching us watch him as he approaches the bars, and his demeanor shifts into something more familiar, something hardened. You were a worthy opponent, Raven. I haven't hurt like this in decades. I ignore him, giving August the floor.
I will ask again. What makes you think that I will show you even a sliver of mercy after all that you've done?
Harry curls his fingers around the bars, his face half illuminated by dull candlelight, half bathed in shadows. He looks older than I remember, tired, defeated. He studies August, his eyes flickering over their features.
Because you are no murderer.
August's knuckles bleed white where they continue to ball their hands, and it would appear that they don't have a response for him. I step forward as close as I can without the worry that Harry might try something stupid that would result in him receiving a broken arm. And what about me? Am I a murderer? Harry smiles smugly.
If you were, we wouldn't be standing here having this conversation, would we? You had your chance, you hesitated. Hunters do not hesitate.
Just because you're a monster doesn't mean I am. He sighs, leaning forward and pressing his face between the bars.
Oh, but what a wonderful monster you would have made. Such a shame that you were so unwilling to even listen to the offer that I could have made you.
I still don't understand what you hope to achieve. After all of your failures, the lack of control you had over those beasts. Harry chuckles, pouting.
Augustus, do not speak ill of your subordinates.
Be quiet.
Yeah, tell him to shut the fuck up, August. Magic skitters across your skin for the briefest moment, a flash of indigo that lights up the dark space that surrounds us. Harry doesn't flinch, doesn't so much as blink.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to speak of them as if they were anything other than disposable to you.
August turns to me, their expression softening.
The decision is yours. He doesn't deserve to have me show him any mercy. Therefore, his fate is in your hands.
They pause, and then they walk away from him, leaning against the wall that separates his cell and the next. They're out of his sight, but I can see them clear as day. I look at my friend, at my enforcer. I'm almost loath to be the one to make this decision, but August deserves a reprieve from this. I nod at them, and Harry's smile fades. When I called here to serve as my greatest creation as the one who finally decides my fate. Beautiful, I suppose. It's all coming full circle. I watch the bob of his throat as he swallows, his eyes fixed upon me and only me. I mean, technically he should have a trial. I agree. But, this sounds pretty good, I don't want him to weasel his way out of it. That's what I'm worried about. But let's give him the damn trial. I guess. He doesn't really deserve one. But I'll give it to him. I still think about the oaths we've taken, about fairness and my promise to protect people and be good. Whatever that means. The problem is that everyone has different definitions of what doing the right thing is. Harry has convinced himself that he's done no wrong, that he's helping. For the greater good. Who am I to judge what happens to Harry? I'll see that you're offered a trial. August remains silent beside me, but Harry looks at me as though he's almost disappointed. Is that it? I gathered you wanted me to kill you if what you said back from the clearing is anything to go by. I will not give you what you wish for. Instead, you'll answer for your crimes and will weed out every single enforcer that dared to follow you. I turned away from him, readying myself to walk out of the dungeons. We all have to live with the consequences of your actions. So shall you. I hope they show you no mercy. As we begin to move away, hear a loud bang, fists hitting metal, with maniacal laughter. A sound that follows me long after I push open the exit door and feel cool air upon my face. Alright. Well, I think we're gonna end things here for now. That was intense. If you enjoyed the video, if you're enjoying the series, if you're enjoying the game, what have you, feel free to hit the like and subscribe buttons, maybe leave a comment, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.